Hey guys, it's Miasma with another anime review. Today we're going to be covering the series Shin Sekai Yori, or From the New World. And as always guys, you can check out these reviews in a blog form on the website in the description. Shin Sekai Yori follows the lives of children at a village known as Kamisu 66, and the setting is over 1,000 years in the future. At this time, humans have evolved to have powerful psychic abilities, basically making everybody walking around like a demigod. Now, you might think that such power would lead the world into chaos and people will be killing each other, but the world is quite the opposite. It's very, very peaceful. In fact, you never see people fighting at all. The story follows a girl named Saki Watanabe as she grows up in this world, who, along with some of her classmates, stumbles upon some information that she was not supposed to hear. And she begins to unravel the dark secrets of the world around her. It's not what it seems. Lies have been told, and the truth, even though she may want it, might not even be bearable. Now, it's hard to talk about the plot of the show without going into spoiler territory. I'm going to try and keep this video without that. The blog will contain spoilers, and I will indicate when they're going to be coming up. It's adapted from a series of light novels by Yusuke Kishi, and be warned before I piss off anybody out there, I didn't read those. I did not read the light novels. I only watched the anime. So I'm only going to be reviewing the anime. So if stuff was different, it wasn't in the anime, and I'm only going to judge the anime. Let's start with what I actually enjoyed about this series. First things first, the animation. It was pretty solid. There were scenes in the show that looked very, very pretty. And a lot of the visual effects, a lot of like the wind effects, and a lot of the character designs in the show were really cool. There were definitely times where they it felt like they were like playing with the budget, where like some of the scenes weren't nearly as good looking as others within the same episode. But I guess that could just be a budget thing. But animation wise, was pretty solid. The latter half of the series, I pretty much enjoyed. It was all right. Towards the end, the conclusion of the series is pretty good. And I know it's kind of weird for me to be starting about the conclusion of a series right now, but we'll get into that. My biggest highlight of what I liked in this series was some of its themes and how it kind of questions the philosophies involving human nature, how we treat each other, and our relationship to those both superior and inferior to us. But that's all I really could say positive about this series, and I got a couple things to say about what I didn't like. My bottom line with the show is that I hated the first half. About the first 11 or so episodes. These episodes ranged from decent to somewhat enjoyable. Some of them I just could barely stand it sometimes. I didn't find myself caring about what was going on in these early episodes. And it's not really the story's fault, I don't think, as I think the story is one of the stronger aspects. Like, the story kind of carries those themes that I just mentioned. But everything I like gets knocked over like a bowling pin by its cliche, predictable, terrible characters that this show has. I'm a guy who really likes stories that are character-driven, and this series, I felt like, was trying to do that, but with like super cliche things that you could just see happening way down the line. And I mean, I eventually started to like Saki, the main protagonist here, a little bit towards the end, once she had sort of like grown up. The story does chronicle her, a lot of her life, from a young kid to a young adult. But everybody else in this series, I pretty much hated. Even the guys in the background characters. I didn't like you either. Just because you were around, I didn't like you. I judged you immediately. The main group of classmates that Saki experiences a lot of this with, they're memorable, but not in like really good ways. I remember them for their predictability and their shallow nature. There's cliche melodrama when they were kids, and this blossomed into episode 8. Yes, the infamous episode 8 of Shin Sekai Yori, which I sort of heard about on the internet, but I wasn't really ready. It really comes out of nowhere. I'm not going to talk too much about what specifically happens in that episode, but to me it just didn't make sense with episodes 1 through 7 comparatively with episodes 9 through 25. It just seemed to kind of come out of nowhere. The first 11 episodes are very slow, and it builds the world up a little bit, but it felt like a roller coaster that was built on a track that was way too high up. And it just, if it's going to get there, I just felt like eventually I was like, wow, this isn't going to be worth it anymore, because I've been on this roller coaster for, way too long. And yes, the series has uniqueness, but that only goes so far for me personally when your character's about as interesting as a wet carrot. Shout out to South Park. Early on, Saki, besides the powers that she has, is a typical schoolgirl who at first had some growth in terms of coming to terms with her powers, but this aspect of her character goes by the wayside when she gets interested in this like Sasuke Uchiha from Naruto type guy in her class named Shun. Shun is that popular guy in school that, is good at everything, and while he goes through some turmoil himself within this anime, I just didn't really care about him. And you can call it jealousy if you want, but I really just don't like characters like him. And if they really wanted me to care about him, I feel like there'd be more plot elements about him. I don't want to go into too deep of spoilers here. But next we got Satoru, who's another boy in her class. Satoru goes through crazy out of nowhere changes in this anime, and he's kind of all over the place as a character. He's brash, he's loud, and he adds to the melodrama early on. He gets a little better over time. I'd say, he's kind of my second favorite in this series, but that's really not saying much. There are two more classmates within their friend circle, and Mamoru and Maria, and they're both not very memorable, and I didn't really care about them. They shoehorn them into this kind of like role later on in the series that felt like really forced, but at the same time they kind of pushed them out of the series, and I didn't even like that part. Like this anime made me feel about characters that initially I didn't care about. So but at the end of the day, it's those characters are whatever, it might as well just be like, Jim and Steve. I only remember their names because I looked them up on Wikipedia before doing this review. The story has somewhat of a solid ending and a reveal at the end, but I really saw the reveal coming. I predicted it. That might not be true for everybody. I'm not trying to say I'm like the most intelligent guy in the world. I usually don't catch reveals at the end, but this one I did. I saw it coming, and I didn't really find it that interesting or cool. But is Shin Sekai Yori a great anime, like some people might tell you on the internet? No, I don't think it is. It had its moments, but I enjoy actual characters over stereotypes. And it took way too long in this series for me to care. Yes, the second half picks up. Yes, the second half answers some of the questions. Yes, the characters develop a little bit in the second half. But it took too long for me, and the conclusion that we got was just kind of like, oh, well, here you go. We should have, spent more time developing to this, but we didn't. We wasted time having characters do completely random things, and just made you not care about the world. And the series also goes, for some reason, it tries to make you like characters that you just naturally hate. There are two in particular. One is Squealer, who is the leader of this clan of monster rats. There are a species known as monster rats within this series. I don't want to go too deep about them. But he's a character that comes up from time to time in the series, and especially towards the latter half of the series. And I did not like this character at all, and I saw a lot of what was going on with him coming from the get-go, and didn't trust him the whole way. And another one is Toriko, is that her name? Tomiko is the village chief here, and it tries to. Oh man, she's so wise, and she's lived for so long. She's experienced so much within this world, and she guides us with great intelligence. But what she does to keep this village so safe, I just couldn't bear, and it made me really dislike her as a character. And I don't get people that would like her as a character at all. And then it tries to make you connect with her later on in the series, and I just couldn't. So, I think this anime, I mean, you might like it. I would suggest that you give it a try. It's definitely not something you should definitely avoid. It's on the lower echelon for me. I'd say it's alright, more towards mediocre. Probably worth the stream. I don't think it's worth a purchase. It is on Netflix. It is on Crunchyroll. You can watch it in sub on there. And there is a Blu-ray release, I believe, through Funimation as well, if you were interested in buying it, even though I don't recommend it. But yeah, I just didn't find it a very memorable experience. Maybe you will. If you disagree with me, let me know down below. I'm sure a lot of you do. But yeah, I found it funny how a show about human evolution had some of the most mundane, overused traits that anime characters can have to offer. And, I don't know, just couldn't handle it. But yeah, as always, guys, this is Miasma, signing out.